Woof. Hello, everyone. It's me, Bad Dog, Craig, from Two Dogs Digs. Welcome to our live top line review of eBay 2022. I am here today to talk to you about this with my better half from the basement.
Sorry, I've got the volume here.
Yeah, my better half. You can be watching this either on our Facebook page, on Craft, the Canadian or Crazy Resellers and Fantastic Thrifters group page on Facebook, or you could be watching us on our Two Dogs Digs channel on YouTube. Just as an FYI, if you are in the Facebook group, if you don't allow it to say that you will be available on StreamYard, your name won't show up. Joel has allowed it, so you can see the little F beside Joel saying there.
I figured out how to do it just a few minutes ago as well.
And then Heather says there, and there's the little red thing by her name, and that's showing that Heather's watching us on YouTube. So you can be watching from either place. Hey, Allison. Happy Sunday to you too. So what we wanted to just chat about today was we spent the past 3 days, well, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday afternoons for a period of about, I think overall it was about 4 to 5 hours a day at eBay Open. It was done virtually this year again. So it was different, a little better in some cases than last year. Hey, David, thanks for joining us. Joel missed it all. A number of people actually missed it all because it's during the day. So unless you have a daytime that you can actually assign to that, and it is a lot of time to go through everything, considering that it started at 9 a.m. Pacific time or noon Eastern time. But even before that, there was an hour of networking rooms. So it was 8 a.m. to noon and 11 a.m. to 3:34. So it was quite a lot of noon. Oh, I just got to get my sound down on that one because I just saw Becky saying hello here as Facebook user for the Cliff Notes. So, hey, Don, thanks for popping in. And Nellie and Holly as well. So what Rick and I did was we actually sat on 2 different computers, up and downstairs, sometimes in the same room, listening to some of the same things, especially with the main keynote speeches that were done by the eBay team. And then broke out into various seminars because there was a whole list of seminars that went on. A number of them by eBay themselves, a number of them by sellers, and then a number of network rooms that were also hosted by sellers. I was fortunate enough to be honored to host a room on the Thursday morning for an hour before the actual eBay Open, and then for about a half an hour afterwards on our top tips for having auctions. And we actually were in a number of different groups and networked with quite a few people. Met some neat people virtually, as you can just by typing and seeing this big face on a screen. And we actually got over 50 new members in the past couple of days to our craft group, the Canadian or Crazy Resellers and Fantastic Thrifter group. And Kimberly, thank you so much. Your session was the best. We like having fun and teaching, so that was the reason that we've done it. And we've done it a couple of times. So what we're going to talk about today is that we are a positive focus group, and we're going to keep it positive focus. But we are going to talk about the good,
Yay!
and the what the
Huh?
on this.
Sorry.
I think if we start out just right from the very beginning, it was really good. On the first day, Rick, I think you said there were close to 5,500, 6,000 people that were on the site over the course of the day. So a lot of people that were active. in there. We had a big keynote speech that was opening eBay Open, and then it went from there into well, I thought you said something, into the different sections. I think the big news was lacking. I think a little bit that we didn't hear a lot of exciting things, a couple of exciting things, but a number of them were sort of that we had a couple of here's something that's happening and then nothing really framing it. So we didn't get a lot of information about the stuff that they say, here's something good that's happening. And next, and everybody in the chat was typing, what about this? What about that? And nobody was answering.
It was like the view at 30,000 feet.
Basically,
and you never got any closer to it,
nope.
Unfortunately.
And it flew over it. So you're in a completely different part of the country.
But overall, there are a couple of good things that are coming. So I'm excited to see a couple of the things actually implemented.
Such as?
Well, first of all, they announced that they're going to be increasing the number of photos available from 12 to 24, which for some of the items we have could really help with, if you've got a lot of books, for example. When I'm doing a lot of 12 books, I have to make conscious choices about how I'm going to frame those books and use the 12 pictures. You can't do front and back of 12 individual books. So this just gives a little bit more room to play with, laying them out so that the buyer can see more accurately what each of the items' flaws or positive things might be.
Yeah, Allison saying, other than the extra pictures, that's about it for her. Well, yeah, and the thing is, it does depend on what it is that you're actually selling. Like if you're selling a record album, you don't need 24 pictures. But clothing, it can help people on. I would even doubt Becky. I would doubt Becky is a big jewelry seller. That you even need, I don't think you need 24 pictures for a piece of jewelry even. So, but if you're getting into some of the things that are especially also higher value and things like that, those are also things that may need those extra things, such as sneakers, I guess. And Nellie's saying, take a video instead. And actually, like we do, that's where we try and add it, especially add that video in where you possibly can.
Yeah, the other thing touching on pictures, Craig, is they're rolling out a feature at some point for 3D imaging for an item. Of course, the sample that they showed was a sneaker, but they showed the sneaker in 3 dimensions, and they sort of rolled around with it, and then a half a second later, they moved on to the next thing. So I'm interested to see what the logistics would be for creating a 3D rendering or picture of an item we have for sale. That would be really useful for things that you would like to show in 3 dimensions, in addition to having a video. So
Becky's saying she doesn't do 24, but sometimes doing lots, a couple more than 12 would come in. Yeah, that would be handy. And this is Donna Lynn. Hey, Donna Lynn. So, yeah, the next thing they talked about, which I think was a good, again, very top line, live streaming. So, some of you may be familiar with some of the places that have done a bit more live streaming. Some people may be familiar with people doing live streaming sales on their YouTube channel. As an example, something we're actually considering whether we actually do live sales on our YouTube channels or not. But there are people who do that all the time. There's also, if you are familiar with in the US, there's Pop Shop. And they've also recently, a big sort of thing that's been coming up has been Whatnot, which focuses on selling both in auctions and buying it now as live action things. Now, the challenge is, again, they've talked about it so fast. It was almost like, and we're doing live selling. And then they didn't talk about it again. until the next day. And this was on Wednesday morning. So on the next day, they did talk about it, and they went to show a demo. And this, unfortunately, was, I think, a combination of good, bad, and WTF all at the same time. Because they talked about we're going come to like the main forum,
It's
the
a break.
main stage
During the break.
And
see a demo.
Here's sort of what it would look like. Yeah, here. Let's see if I can get this up here. So here it is, and over in the corner here, we've got the little thing that says, "Here's the stage." You go to the stage, and then we go to the stage, and then it says, "For a live demo of eBay Live," and you got to the live demo. And they told you to take a picture with your phone of a QR code so you could watch a live demo on your phone.
I was very confused because the instructions included eBay app. So I went into the eBay app and was trying to take a picture of the QR code in eBay.
I did it the other way, and I actually found it, but there were a lot of people who were in the chat who were going, "I'm watching on my phone. How am I supposed to take a picture of this while I'm on my phone trying to do?" And it did say, "Come to the booth." So the thing that was just it was a big what the fail is
well,
they should have been.
We finally got there, however.
Yes, but they should have been
live
broadcasting.
auction thing could be an interesting thing.
No, but I'm just saying they could. Like your big challenge, you wrote in the comments, why are you not broadcasting this on the main screen so that people can look?
Craig has figured out how to broadcast or how to connect his cell phone to the computer so that we can show you guys what's on his phone. I'm sure that Hopin, the multi-million-dollar company that ran the event, could have helped them figure out how to show what's on a mobile device through their stage, but they didn't.
And we know they could do them live because I held from 11 till noon that day. I was live. So I was live in a networking room with this face. So
yeah, Don made a really good point here. They should have put the link underneath the QR code.
Yeah, anywhere that would see it.
They should have said in their communications, "Hey, this is on a mobile device only."
And this is a little say hello to Constance for joining us in our Facebook group. So Constance, you're showing up as Facebook user because StreamYard, which is what we broadcast from, needs to have you approve it to show your name. So you just show up as a little F with Facebook user. So that again, it was interesting. They actually sold stuff live. They sold stuff live where they had eBay swag. They sold out of it within seconds. So it was kind of, here we have these 40 bags, like gym bags with the eBay logo on it, sold out. And it was like, you have 2,000 people watching, and you sell out in like literally a second. So again, that was a little bit of people going, what?
Well, I think people also went to the eBay store in advance and bought them before they actually showed them on the show.
They did. You could do that as well.
Yeah.
So that was it. But it was really interesting to see it. They didn't talk about how they would do auctions or anything along those lines. They have done a couple of live streamings already, and those have been usually at events. So no more word really on what is happening with live streaming, but it's going to be happening. It's going to be, they're finally going to get in there to add it in to doing something. Now, it's something, this next good, I'm going back to actually something back up here. Tina said, I still don't get why they can't get payment on offers. That is something they also did talk about. They are rolling out more and more, getting a payment approved on an offer. So if someone wants to accept an offer, they will have to have their payment info in so that when they accept the offer, it can be paid right away. So it is rolling out slowly. I don't know whether it's rolling out by category, by seller, or what. I do know that a number of items that I think we've actually seen the offer come in on, Rick. I think we've seen a couple of offers come in where it says payment has been approved on this.
Yeah.
So it's been a little different, and I'll try and screen cap one the next time we do it to know that like this person has already said they're approving payment. Don said they're rolling out after the holiday, but it is already happening. I know that we've seen a couple like that, and I've seen other people screen capping them, and we have got some immediate payments.
That's the way eBay does things. They don't implement everything to everyone across the board. They choose one of their servers that holds a certain number of sellers, and they implement on that server. If everything goes well, they roll it out to another one and another one until it's finally system-wide.
So David's saying he thinks it's by the buyer. So maybe it is like the buyers. So they're rolling it on the buyer side, so it will affect you as a seller as they go through buyers. Who knows? Maybe it's newer buyers. Like maybe they have said, we're only going to do it to people under 10 feedback right now, so that we're not going to have as many unpaids versus doing it to someone who has a 10,000 feedback.
It will be lovely though once it is implemented.
Yeah, it will be very nice.
Very nice. Non-paying offer
in both ways. Number one, if somebody sends us an offer and we accept it, we get paid. But also when we send out offers, that if somebody wants to accept it, they have to pay. Because we literally just went through a 5-day and had to wait for it to close for something that we sold, and we never got the payment through on something like that. Another thing that they announced, in this right now, it's affecting the US, not Canada, is they're developing a new international shipping service. It wasn't really clear, but I think it will be replacing their GSP, their global selling platform. It sounded like that from one or two things they did say, like it was going to be integrated, but I think it will actually be replacing it, where they're talking about sending your items to a hub in the US. It's not available in Canada yet. We have been talking to eBay Canada about it. It isn't something that they're looking at doing yet. They've thought about it, but it's too big logistically for them to do. So they are looking in the US. And they will handle everything. One big thing that wasn't clear was they will handle returns, will come back to them. And they never really said what they would do with the stuff afterwards. It sounded like if there was a refund, you would keep your money, the person would be refunded, and then someplace in Kentucky is going to have a whole bunch of crap at their door. So I don't know how they're going to figure out doing that. This is Matt. Hey, Matt. He says he swears he's the only one that has never had a non-paying buyer after an offer being sent.
Until now.
You jinxed yourself, Matt. Right now, Matthew has jinxed himself. Becky saying the international shipping will replace GSP, but not good for multiple items purchased at one time. Yeah, so they still have to figure out one of those things. Yeah, maybe they'll open an overstock store.
Maybe they'll buy the pallet to other eBay sellers.
Yeah, they'll sell it. Yeah, they'll do pallet sales to eBay sellers. And Don's saying, yes, the whole eBay ship international was so vague. It's like, and that I think part of the frustration in a lot of the cases of this, and this kind of leans into the bad, is every segment other than the networking segments and the one eBay Live that no one could find on their phone, every segment was taped. So the challenge that a lot of the people were having is in the comment section, a couple of different things became challenges. One is that there were chats and a Q&A section at the top. So I'm going to show you a page here to give you an example. This is what we saw. Oh, sorry, well, there. This is what we would see on a page. And up in the top, there's a chat section up here. And then there was a Q&A section, like over in the far, far edge there. And it seemed that they didn't really give proper direction. So people were asking questions in chat and they weren't getting answered. And then people would ask questions in Q&A and they would get answered. And sometimes questions were in the questions and they didn't get answered, because if you had an answer, you were supposed to see the word answered underneath it.
Yeah. The platform also allowed you to participate in the chat for the main conference or for the individual session.
So you were chatting
so there were people
on the main hello stage, but your questions. So you would ask a question about a seminar you're in, but you're on the main entrance stage.
So the people in the session wouldn't see it.
And in many cases, if it wasn't in the Q&A section, people didn't answer it. And they really didn't make it clear that you had to be in the Q&A in order to have questions looked at and answered.
Yeah, again, that's not an eBay thing. That's a conference management thing.
Yeah. But it was still a bit of a challenge. I'm going to save one of our others that sounds like it could be really good for our sort of summary recap. We're going to talk a little bit now about the bad, because there was a bit of bad things. The first thing that I'd like to talk to you about that I think, well, actually, this kind of blurs between.
I kind of know what you're going to say.
I don't know if this belongs in or if it belongs in the bad section, because there were so many presenters who sound like they were told to look around the room as if they were presenting to 100 people. And so this is how presentations were done. Like, it drove me batty. There was nobody in the room with them. It was one person on a camera, and you constantly saw, this was what you constantly saw, people talking.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
I was screaming at the camera. It's like presentation 101. But yeah, somebody said pretend to every single presenter from eBay. Pretend you're in the conference room. And yes, when you were in a conference room that has 5,000 people in it that are from there over to there, that are from the back of the room to the front of the room, you look like that. But you don't do that when you're presenting on camera.
My big bug was the fact that they had the huge presentation window behind them that showed the slide that they were talking about.
Yes.
And rather than, some of the presentations actually flipped to a full screen of the slide with the presenter on the side. Others just zoomed in on the presenter, so you couldn't follow along with what they were trying to point out on their slide, which to me as an attendee makes a huge disconnect. It's what point is he trying to talk about? Did his slide mention that? It takes me completely out of the.
It would be like, it was like this. You'd have this there, and then my head would be
2:30 p.m. Get the blah.
Get to, and then and the presenter would be sitting back there, but the words would be up like that. Yeah, that was a little bit. Hey, Mary, that was a little bit of a weird thing too. I think a little bad for them. It showed for them that their audience did drop daily. They had, again, close to 6,000 people on day one, and I think, Rick, you figured out how many on day two?
There were 4,300.
And day three?
It didn't top over 3,700. So
I thought it was down at 2,500 on day three.
You wrote the numbers down somewhere.
Okay. I know I said don't.
I'll refer to you.
We shouldn't be correcting each other, but I think that was one where we were surprised it didn't hit the 3,000 mark on the Friday.
Oh, you're right. I might be misremembering.
They had a number of speakers who really I don't think had practiced. They weren't necessarily good public speakers or good camera speakers, besides the looking to the side like that.
I'm here to talk to you about eBay and how it helps me as a seller.
That was
there
were a couple of people in the seller rooms that had that as their thing, which was a little bit of but there were also some people who you could tell they just weren't comfortable in front of a camera in any way, shape, or form.
But there were some fantastic speakers.
Yes, there were some amazing speakers in there. That's true. And in fact, the challenge, and I think this is kind of part of the bad switched with the WTF, some of the best seminars were done by the in the networking groups that were before and afterwards. There was a seminar done by Diane Lasson in the Massachusetts Selling Group. And it was an hour long, and they had some amazing stuff that was in there. Kathy Terrell from I Love to Be Selling had a thing. She was doing stuff. I think it was Diane Lasan. And then there were a couple others. Some people here said that my seminar was pretty good. I did see some ones that were bad. I did see a couple of seminars one seminar which somebody kept talking about how to sell on Kijiji and
Facebook
how to sell on Craigslist and Etsy and Poshmark. And I was like, you do realize you are presenting.
It wasn't me, by the way.
For eBay. I think the worst thing of all, though, was that the way that they actually set the thing up. The very first day, they had a 10-minute break, and we're jumping a little bit, but on the 10-minute break, what ended up happening is they were supposed to start at 1:50. Like the opening keynote was supposed to go from 9 o'clock in the morning until 9:40 with a 10-minute break. And at 9:50, it was supposed to move to the actual seminars. What happened was it started at the break. So when people tuned in 10 minutes later to the proper start of the seminars had already started. They were already 10 minutes done. And they were pre-recorded.
And so a couple of them were 12 minutes long, so they ended after 2 minutes.
Yes. Basically, you tuned in to say, and so that's how you do that. And there was nobody, again, in the Q&A. The next 20 minutes of that half-hour segment were unmanned. So there was a lot of stuff that I think eBay fell really flat on. One of the biggest ones for me that they fell flat on was their booths. They had booths all over the place from eBay. And the beginning of every session, they would talk about this. They would say, check out or visit the booths within the expo. This is like on their thing saying, we got a break right now between 12:45 and 1 p.m. And you know what? Not a soul was live inside one of those booths. In fact, we went to booths multiple times all day Thursday and all day Friday, trying to see, and in almost every single case, there was nobody in it. This is what you saw when you got to a booth. eBay listing tools, best practices, go here. The purpose of a booth is for people to visit it, see somebody, talk to somebody, and for the 3 hours a day that they could have had to man that booth, everybody, including eBay Canada, they didn't do it either, could have had a visual presence inside that booth, a face who could sit there and wait to see if questions came up. I was looking multiple times at the booth and seeing in that chat of each one of the booths, people typing, is there anybody here? I literally personally typed to Allison Ingalls and Brian Burke and Luke, all saying, you need to get these booths mans. You're telling people there's people there and there's nobody there. They all said, oh, thank you for noting that. And then nothing happened. Same thing happened on Friday.
I think everyone had the same experience we did. They'd go to the booth. They weren't even welcomed to the booth when they joined.
No, Luke was actually missing from day Friday. On Friday.
A question or a comment in the chat, crickets.
Yeah. And when you've got sections, because they had so many eBay booths that, like on listing tools, on TerraPeak, on things, and every one of them had nobody there to answer your question. So again, that was a little bit another one of the sort of bad / the WTFs. I mean, if there was a live conference, they would have had somebody sitting in there, and people would have walked in at the booth. When you go to eBay Open live, there are booths. There is always a person standing at that booth to talk to you, especially if it's a case of trying to sell something extra. But there's always somebody at the eBay podcast booth to talk about eBay podcasts. There was always someone at the booth. So that one, I think, drove me up the wall. And with that, it's like so a lot of times you got no answers to questions. That's kind of the other big challenge, is you didn't get any answers to any of the questions because so many people were typing in the wrong places. Robert's saying, I hope they do it again in person because it's not the same experience at all. It's not. It does remind me, though, and it's a sort of our summary, because we don't want to take too long on this, as to what was good about it is eBay Open itself, we were at 2018 and 2019. It really wasn't so much about the presentation. It was about the people. It was about meeting everybody, socializing, networking, and all of that. I had a great time with my presentation and networking and chatting with the people who joined us in the auction presentation. I personally think that no harm, no foul. I'll pat myself on the head. I think I should have had one of the presentations that was there, but I wouldn't have done it if they told me to film it, because I don't think that's the right way for those presentations to be done. You will be able to access all this stuff, or some of the stuff too. And I think that's Heather. Heather and I danced at it, and Mary saying, "I'm a booth babe," and you just get people helped. It's not a big deal. No, I don't think it is. I'm just seeing another comment here. This is from Becky. I totally agree. In person wasn't about the classes; it was about the experience and networking, meeting other people in person. Yeah, and in fact, I mean, even a couple of the things, like Rick sat in a thing that Griff did on taking photos that was amazing. The seminars on selling fashion were great. A lot of that stuff was really good. I will say that the one unfortunate thing is they did focus a lot on sneakers and cars. Now, I understand, and I think what's great is they do point out the fact that when they do that, the big money makers for them are sneakers and trading cards and cars. It's surprising as hell. One of the facts I read was that they sell one pair of sneakers on eBay every 4 seconds. That's how much volume there is. So when those things happen,
collectors know to go to eBay.
The collectors know to go there. The people at eBay Motors and those who are motor people, like we know Stu Gibb, Jeff Roblin, Chris in the States, all of these people that are motor based, they sell millions of dollars worth of motors. Now, the nice thing is bringing those people in expands the categories for many of us, like us, who are thrifting people and resellers. So we go and we do the garage sales and that sort of thing, and we sell all sorts of stuff, like a lot of you do who are in our craft group or who watch our Facebook group. So they've done studies, and the people that buy from those categories spend money outside of it as well. So I just wish that they would talk more generally instead of, it seemed that it used to be every presentation was trading cards, trading cards, trading cards, trading cards. And I understand that, and I think everybody else does, but I even said at one point, or somebody else said in there, it's like, this is sneaker bay. It's like, yes, but if sneakers bring you in and then you want to spend $300 on something of mine, then that's fine with me. I really don't mind when we have that kind of cover over. And then there's all the other people who are coming in for what they need to buy and sell. But it is all about the networking. And I think that that is a really great thing that still happened a lot in the chat and in the seller rooms. Here's a quick summary. If you are looking, eBay has its own YouTube page, eBay for Business. They will be posting the training sessions they did on here. These are actually there's Luke for going global with Canada. Decoding engineers.
Sorry, Craig.
Yeah.
The fourth one over, the advanced training session, how to know Gen Z. They use Forrester data, and that, if you like data and want to find out more about the Gen Z market, that is a must-see presentation.
We'll put a link to that in our craft page for that YouTube one on its own, because yes, that was an amazing presentation. How to create the perfect listing as well. They've only got 5 of them up there right now, and the reason they have those 5 is because they started them all early, so everybody missed the 10 minutes of them. The others are going to come up on Tuesday or Wednesday. Now, again, unfortunately, from what we hear, they're only going to put up the ones that were run by eBay. You won't see any of the seller-led sessions, which there were some really good seller-led sessions as well. Sarah Stiles had a really good one. I'm trying to think a couple of the others that I saw that were. Daniel. Oh, Anna Packer, been there, done that for practical things for managing inventory, was an amazing one as well. The user tools from Sarah Ayer from Sarah Stiles was a really good one as well. So there were some good ones up there. Those I don't think are going to be put up. Unfortunately, I don't know why. Maybe it's copyrighted. And none of the networking rooms. So the ones that I hosted and other people hosted about how to sell, how to do things. Ours was about auctions. None of those are being put up either. So that's a little bit of I wish they'd put them all up because there were too many seminars, 5 and 6 seminars. Yeah, they did record them. Mandy's right. They recorded all of them, but they didn't really do much. Yeah, we made it a little. What did we think of the eBay Live demo? We did cover that topic. We were less than impressed about how they told people to go to it. We wish they'd shown it on screen so that if you were using your phone, and then it really didn't talk enough about it for us to understand how it could roll out, if it will be for auctions, which we would love. If they did do it for auctions, are they going to do, they'll have to do soft closes, which eBay is not known for. But if you look at auctions on Pop Shop Live or on whatnot, they all have if somebody bids, it gets an extended time. You can't have a hard close because there's no sniping in live things. So they didn't talk a lot about that. It mainly became a half an hour of them selling eBay swag and selling it out fast. So I'd like to see a lot more about that kind of stuff. But yes, aside from the 24 picks, the international shipping program, anything else that's earth-shattering that affects that, that's the one thing I think that we wanted to end on. And again, they just didn't tell us a lot about this. So it was a little strange. And I don't even know if I'm going to say it right because we listened. The seminar is not back up, so I can't watch it. They're introducing eBay buyer groups. Now, here's our understanding. The eBay buyer groups are how eBay is going to put together groups of buyers with like-minded things that they want that we as sellers will be able to market to. Mandy just did a buyer group for sending coupons. So this is interesting because if they put together, especially if they can move this again out of sneakers, but into sort of the collectibles and antiques and that sort of vintage area, you may be able to find people like Mandy who deals with a lot of collectible Stife and teddy bears. If you found a group of people who are teddy bear fanatics and you could send them copies or things like that, it's something that could be very interesting on what to do. They are saying that it is rolling out. Mandy says it is a new link under marketing in Seller Hub, so I'll have to take a look for that. But that was, I think, one of the more exciting things. So, Becky, when you're on the jewelry side, if you were selling jewelry and you had people that were interested in costume jewelry or vintage, you might be able to find some really easy ways to find extra ways to help market yourself. Carl says, eBay makes announcements about new things that never seem to appear. Yeah, they do talk a lot about stuff that's coming. They started talking about live video, adding video in like 2.5 years ago, and it's finally into our listings right now. And some people still have challenges with it with the new listing tools. But overall, what grade would you give it, Rick, for this eBay Open?
I'd give it a solid B.
That's what I was going to say, too.
There was a lot of good information if you could find it or you got to the session on time. The networking was pretty good. The fact that you could still chat one-on-one with people by sending the direct messages. The platform functioned much better this year than last. There weren't any glitches that I could see, aside from the start times for the group of sessions on day one. But yeah, I think that overall I'd give it a B.
I'd probably give it a B too. Again, my big challenges there were that it was very hard to get questions answered if you didn't know where you were supposed to be typing. But there wasn't a lot of big news for me, which was kind of like yes and no. But I like that there's not a lot of big news, because that means there's nothing drastic changing. But I like the things they did talk about. But they talk about them so fast that we don't find enough information on it. But I think for me, what pushed me was a lot of the interaction that I had in the seller networking side of things on the 2-3 days of this, which gave us an ability to chat with a lot of people and meet a lot of new people as well. So for example, some of them, again, there was also so much going on that we can't see it. So Mandy happened to go to a session that she mentioned on
I think it was the promoted listing session, and there were two types of
that said
promoted
something was
listings.
changing with search. But the thing was, we didn't get to either of those sessions because Rick and I were in 2 other sessions. There were 5 sessions happening at a time. And in some cases, they weren't repeated. So if they weren't repeated, or if they will, it was like, what are you going to? What am I going to? So Tuesday, again, if you go to YouTube, you will see all the playlists on there. As a reminder, if you are thinking about things too, take a look at, there is a Facebook page, which is eBay for Business. So you can go into there to ask questions. And as well, you can look at the eBay community on the .com site. So they will talk about things here. There's a summary of eBay Open from Jordan. And in Canada, there is the announcement page, which actually specifically deals with Canadian announcements.
Yeah, that's actually a little used resource that people who are on
nobody goes to these things, but it's really a great place to take a look at those extra little things.
How do you get to it, Craig?
Huh?
How do you get to community?
How do you get to it if you want? Yes, the easy way to get to that makes sense. The easy way to get to this on ebay.ca, you go literally to the very, very bottom of the page and you'll see community. And under community, you'll see announcements and discussion forums. If you are actually in the ebay.com section, you can go further down there and you will see the same thing at the very bottom of that page. They have on the main page, eBay announcements community as well in there. So it's ways for you to find both of those things and find more information. But take a look, as I said, at the YouTube page. Most of these sessions, even though they say they're 30 minutes long, are not. And take a look at any of the things that make sense for you to actually, again, this getting to know Gen Z it says it's 30 minutes, but I'm not sure if it's a full 30. So in this case, yeah, this one's close to 30 minutes, but that might be a very good one for you guys to watch. But again, yeah, it was a B. I'd love it if they start doing things where they started having more regional things. I wish that this case, because of Canada, they had actually had a Canadian little watch party or something like that. Who knows if they're going to go live?
Swag group or
that's the other thing that none of the Canadian. If you're Canadian, you couldn't get any swag. You couldn't win points. You couldn't buy anything. You couldn't get anything. So I don't know what the heck's going to happen there. Canada said they'll fix that, but overall, again, it will be. She's put. It looked as if search would not include your listings if you did not promote it, and if you had to like an item, it will only show one from each seller. And again, we need clarity on some of those things, so I don't want to sit on them too long until we figure out exactly what's happening. Basically, our big thing is keep listing, keep selling, keep checking, that sort of stuff. If you want to rewatch this section, it will be sitting in the Facebook group and the craft group. It will also be on our YouTube page as soon as this ends. It takes about 20 minutes to rejig itself, and it'll be in our regular inventory within the videos on YouTube. So there you would just go to, let's see if we can talk about it here. We would go to youtube.ca. We're going to search for 2 dogs, pigs, which you are probably a member of already. But if you go to that page, you will see this, and you'll see the top line review. And this is live right now. It'll go right into a review afterwards, just like our Friday night live that was an unexpected live is there right now. So you can click on that and see our Friday night thrift finds if you want to watch that. So yeah, we'd like some more features in Canada. We have a lot of challenges with things that we have up here. A big problem that they do have, though, Andrew, is that because they are still 2 platforms, English and French, they can't make things work right. There's 2 completely different server units that just cannot blend. So that's one of the reasons they're telling us it's stopping a lot of things from being implemented in Canada, because they can't implement them in the dual languages. up here, which is mandatory for them.
They
So
usually have to wait until France is done so that
they usually have France has to be completed, but they are looking at migrating everything to a single server some point in the future, which scares me. But we'll hope. We'll just hope that it works that way. So thanks again for watching. Again, this is just a top line if you didn't get to go. Features wise, they've still got 138 million buyers around the world for you on eBay. But if you need photos, we'll be able to go.
Can you post the link?
Yeah, we'll put the link up there. It is actually, if you search for eBay for Business, if you search for eBay for Business on YouTube, it will actually take you to the YouTube eBay for Business page. And that is exactly where these videos are listed.
Yeah, click on videos.
Click on the video section as opposed to the home, and it'll be
eventually they'll put them all into a list.
Yeah, there will. Yeah, they'll probably end up with under home. There'll probably be a playlist for eBay 2020. There it is. Click under playlists. eBay 2020 updated 3 days ago, so you'll be able to look at all of them there. So hopefully that gives you the link to that. So thanks, Mary. Thanks for popping in. Love you both. Love you too. So yeah, 138 million buyers. Photos up to 24, which is good if you need 24. Rolling out live streaming of some kind. We're not exactly sure what. New, replacing GSP in the States for international shipping that may get items sent back to them that we don't know what they're going to do with. They're ramping up that you gotta pay if you're going to accept the best offer. I think that is. And there will be buyers groups to help you promote yourself to smaller buyer groups. So we haven't been invited those yet. Thrifty say, I don't know if there's 3D videos. It was the 3D videos, the 3D True View, yes, it was coming up as well. They only mentioned it. They didn't say when, for what categories, or anything along those lines. So
they showed a sneaker.
They showed a sneaker because they couldn't show a car part. I guess it was like showing a carburetor do that, which is really, I don't know. Is that what a carburetor looks like?
Yeah. Well, if they're selling a sneaker every 4 seconds,
then, yeah,
they're going to invest in technology that will help sell more sneakers, maybe one every 2 seconds.
Thanks again for joining us. If you're around on Tuesday night, our Tuesday night hall pass is going to be a Thrift It or Throw It, our fun show where we throw a bunch of stuff up to see whether or not you would have done the same thing that we did with that item. And it's always fun to find out what we do versus what you do, because they never seem to be the same thing. So this is our this is good. All right, there you go. There, that is going to be Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Thrift It or Throw It live. So hopefully we'll see you then and have a little bit of fun on the Tuesday night. Watch for some new videos coming out from us this week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us in Craft, the Canadian or Crazy Resellers and Fantastic Thrifters group on Facebook. If you're watching us there, subs to us on YouTube, Two Dogs Digs. If you're in YouTube, sub to us in Craft. And if you're on either, take a look at us as Thrifting with Two Dogs Digs on Instagram and TikTok, where we're building more and more short little form things. Thanks so much. Woof. We're out of here.
Bye.
Put that up. Gotta get that up. I gotta put that up. And then we can say bye. Now we can say bye. Now we say bye.